Good evening, people. It's me, Born and Red. It's a different feeling today. It's looking a lot like Christmas. Saturday Biz has got a new haircut. Jean's got a smirk. And me, I'm very relaxed, very relaxed. It feels like we're around about 9 points ahead of the team in second. I've not even looked down that far, but forgive me. But today it was all about keeping your heads. Some said it was all about keeping the ball as well. But it was a bit more than that, Jake. It was a lot more than that. It was about showing the bottle, showing the heart, showing the energy. And Liverpool showed oceans of it. I want to repeat that. Liverpool showed oceans of it. And to top everything off at the end of the evening, Guardiola reminded us how many European Cups we've got in our trophy cabinet. How are you, my brother? It's a big welcome for you to the UK and once again on BNR.
Yeah, very welcome here in the UK. I had a brief conversation with Sheen before the match, just telling him, how blessed I am to be coming to some of these games. You kind of take it for granted once you come to these games often, but before this one, for whatever reason, it just felt different. It felt special, and a few hours now after the match, that feeling hasn't changed. I'm going to remember this one for a very long time. It was a special evening, a special night. I'm glad I got to enjoy it with you two guys. I'm glad to be here on the show, and it's a very big win. I think we have one hand on the title. Well, I'm sure we'll get into that, but I never had any doubt coming into this game that we were going to batter them. I told you this coming into the match. I told Sarab coming into the match. I think Sheen's the only one that agreed with me, and that's exactly what we did. We absolutely battered them. You're on mute.
Sorry, I was just about to say, Jake's got his hands out. He's looking for that trophy already. Surely it's too early.
No, it's not too early. He said one hand. I think it's two hands. He said one hand. I'm saying two hands. I said after the Man City game, when we beat City, the title's done. City are in a crisis. City are in a crisis. Oh, City are in a crisis.
Officially in crisis.
They're in crisis. No, but look. Come on, let's not take the piss there. We're set. We're 11 points ahead of Man City, who arguably people were saying are going to come back. Now they might come back, they might cut the deficit, but I think it's too large at this stage to to say anything less than that. Jake thinks one hand, and I think we've got both our hands on it. It's just about, it's not a matter of if now, it's a matter of when. And I think that when is going to come sooner than you lot think.
Gene, if Jake's got one hand, Sadi's got two hands, are you doing the Rafael Nadal and biting the little handle?
I'm relaxed. I'm relaxed, man. I'm enjoying my team. My team, inshallah, gonna win the title, man. Look, it's still 13 games in, still a long way to go. Anything can happen, but we stick with our predictions that we made at the start of the season. We all know what everybody's predictions were. Before the game, I predicted a 4-1 win. Honestly, it should have been 6. The way we absolutely annihilated this Man City side. Yes, they're not been amazing over the last 4 to 5 weeks, but we absolutely battered the shit out of this side, and it should have been 6. But you got to give this team a lot of credit. After the Real Madrid game, I was speaking to Jake, and I said, we are one unbelievable team. We had that injury to Kanate, and I felt, maybe this is going to be the, am I thinking, is it too early for me to think that? But boy, did this team go out there, perform to the level that I didn't think we would perform at this level, of the way we completely controlled Man City, the way we did it, the way we pressed them in, especially in the first half, was a joy to watch. And to be sat here 11 points ahead of City, 9 ahead of Arsenal, playing football that's just beautiful to watch at times. And honestly, if it wasn't for that Forest defeat, anything would have been possible with this team. And I just can't wait. I can't wait for Wednesday to come, for us to be sat in the clouds, because they're going to get it as well. Because right now, everybody's getting it.
Well, we're gonna be. I don't know which cloud we're gonna be on Wednesday evening. Because right now we're on cloud 19.
I'm talking about the clouds up there, and we're gonna be sat in the stands, man. Especially
I know. Jake, we'll go to the lineup in a bit, but I just want to talk about the energy. Obviously, you are in the COP as well. I thought it was unbelievable for a Premier League game. In December, it felt like a proper European night, like especially the first 10-15 minutes. I thought Liverpool have had about 1 million corners for the first 10-15 minutes. I looked at the clock, there was about 16 minutes. I thought, wow, there's another 70 minutes of this. But it felt like, that fast start on a European night under the lights. And I thought the City players were kept, even in that early stage of the game, Jake, they were looking at each other like, what's hit us? And I thought, you know what? They won the toss and they made us shoot towards the cop in the first half. And Liverpool thought, you know what? We're going to go for you. And that it was Liverpool's moment. My only worry was at 45, have Liverpool put too much into the second half? But we'll come to, how Liverpool and Arne Slot managed the game as well. But just talk to me about the energy in the crowd today and the atmosphere as in general.
Yeah, listen, I mean, it was evident from the beginning that this City side wasn't able to cope with our intensity. This was just for whatever reason, a different City side when it comes to dealing with that level of intensity. When you see City in their prime, it's a team that doesn't lose their bottle easily under duress. And today, it seemed like each and every single player in that City side couldn't handle our intensity. They couldn't put 3 or 4 passes together without losing the ball. The atmosphere in the stadium was electric. That was anticipated. That was expected. When you come to Anfield for this magnitude of a match, you're going to get that type of atmosphere. And this City side, under the difficulties that they've been having lately, you can't come to Anfield playing poorly and expect to get any kind of result. This is a place where you have to be at your absolute best to get any kind of result. And when you're playing as poorly as City are playing right now, you don't have any chance. And they didn't have any chance for those 10, 15, 20 minutes in that first half that you referenced. The exact same thing happened to me. I looked at the clock. I couldn't see the actual game clock. I had to look on my phone. I looked at the clock. I'm thinking, this is 18, 19 minutes in. I'm like, holy moly. We got another 80 minutes of this, with stoppage time. We're like, this is mental. I was very, very curious when I saw the City lineup, and I had a conversation with Sheen. I saw that they were going to pack the midfield. I was wondering what our approach was going to be. Was it going to allow them to control the game and try to hit them on the counter because that's where they've been struggling? Or are we going to come at them with that intensity that we saw in that second half last season and really try to run them off the park? That's the approach that I wanted to see, but I wasn't sure how Slot was going to handle it. As you mentioned, we went all out intensity to start the match, and they couldn't handle it. If we're being realistic here, it easily could have been 2-0, 3-0, maybe even 4-0 in the first 45 minutes. The fact that it was only 1-0 after 45, I'm sure I'm not the only one in here that felt this way. There were nerves going into that second half because the door was still open for them, and it was a massive 45 minutes, which I'm sure we'll get into. But the stadium was absolutely electric.
Yes, I was gonna, Jake. That's a good point. The only thing that concerned me was, I think you alluded to it, like you couldn't see the clock, and you saw 18 minutes were gone, and we were pressing so intensely, and I just thought, especially as well, only getting 1 goal, because normally when you press that high, and we've seen it in the past against Man City when we've played them, especially in the Champions League as well, and the league a couple of times over, that when we press them so high, they tend to capitulate, and we got a couple of goals from them. But I think back then we had a lot better attackers than we do now, which is why the scoreline was reflected that rather than today. But when you said 80 minutes, I was watching it from my living room, and I felt the exact same way. I looked at the clock and I was like, this is only 20 minutes in, and like, are we going to be able to keep this up? And obviously we got the goal with Cody Gakpo, and look, it was a good first half performance. But again, I was nervous going into the second half because I thought we've been too wasteful here, and I think that's the only negative I have on today. That the scoreline could have had a bit more gloss on it.
But do you think, Salah, it was because I mentioned it felt like Liverpool playing under the lights on a European night. It felt like this wasn't an Arne Slot team. It felt like a Jurgen Klopp team, especially for the first 20 minutes.
Yeah, I'd care to agree with you. And I've said that quite a few times. There's been some patterns of play which are not going to disappear because, again, we need to understand that this team's been playing this way for 7, 8 years. Some of these players have been playing this intense way. And a lot of the players that we have still are more suited to the gegenpress style of football. So the intense, high intensity, winning the ball back higher. You look at Szoboszlai, you look at Diaz, Gakpo is starting to get into that. You look at Nunes when he came on. All of these players are intense, high pressing machines. And I think we saw the best of that today as well, especially from Dominic Szoboszlai, because I thought he was fantastic in the press. But look, there will be shades of that. We've seen the goals against Brentford this season. Again, that was another in a Klopp-style goal. But the main thing that I like about Arne Slot is this season is his adaptability and he's not afraid. Okay, there's a comment there. Slot is a chess grandmaster. I think that's a perfect way to describe him. And maybe today was not that, but what it was, and we can all agree that it was a ridiculously impressive performance from Liverpool.
Let's, Gene, he might mention Dominic Szoboszlai. I'm going to be honest. I wanted Curtis Jones last night. Sounds like we've got another contributor. Gene, are you ready to take that question, or do you want to give it to your missus?
Yeah, I can.
Should we give it to her? You should probably
Honestly,
answer it better than you anyway.
Go on.
Dominic Szoboszlai, I don't know why. Jake, you're shaking your head. Maybe you can tell me later once I'm coming to you. But I predicted Curtis Jones. I did want Curtis Jones because of the way he played against Real Madrid. If you're playing a football side, you want ball retention, you wanted ball carrying ability. But today, Szoboszlai, maybe if Szoboszlai was like peak form or in the form of Curtis Jones, then I would have been okay. But there has been a bit of a question mark in regards to his form. But I thought he was absolutely brilliant today. There were some moments in the midfield where he was popping it off, and I thought he nearly slipped, and Manchester City could have countered on us. But honestly, his performance, his lungs, his energy, and he's got a good whistle on him. I don't know if you heard that whistle in the Cup, but if Diaz is too wide or Gakpo is too wide, he's got a really good whistle. And then he tells them where you need to be. You've been talking about it all season, where he tells his own players where to be in the press. But honestly, his courage as well was out of this world today. And I'm so made up for him because he's taken a lot of stick in this season.
Yeah, even before the game, when we saw the lineup, me and Jake were discussing it, and we said why Szoboszlai over Jones, especially with the unbelievable performance Jones had against Real. And obviously we came to the conclusion that maybe because obviously Gomez on that right hand side, Trent's just come back in. He will probably give a bit more protection to Trent and Gomez on that side, that he probably got the nod in this game. But the intensity levels that he'd shown in this game, we've seen that off the ball, how amazing he's been in this season, and especially at the start of the season, it was always his on the ball where he always felt like he's lacked. Over the last few games, the performance against Southampton, he came on against Real Madrid, he had a really, really good cameo. Today, he was phenomenal. He did everything right. And obviously we were sat in the Cup. The first half, we could see every single thing in terms of the press. Yeah. The press was perfection in that first half. We did not let City move. Literally, we didn't let them move. The amount of times they kicked the ball and it went to number one, it went out of play, and secondly, we were onto the second ball straight away. We didn't let them breathe. Honestly, City did not know what had hit them. They didn't know what to do. They looked lost. And me and Jake were saying this. I go, Jake, these guys don't know what to do right now. We have to keep on peppering them. Keep on peppering them. We were unlucky. Peppering, I didn't realize. But anyway, look. But in terms of what's his name? But I agreed with Sarib. The amount of chances we missed, in that first half, the amount of chances we created from the press, and then we missed, it was really, really peeing me off, because I was like, City will need one chance. They'll probably take it. The luck giggers will walk away from Anfield with a draw like last season. But we kept on going. We kept on pressing, and it was a joy to watch at times. But Dominic Szoboszlai, probably his best performance in a Liverpool shirt. Offensively as well, I thought he was really good. He made the right passes. Yes, look, there's going to be times where he's going to play a few misplaced passes, but who doesn't? But his performance today, he was unbelievable.
Yeah, go on, Sarib.
So he says, I think we all can agree that we missed a lot of chances. But my concern wasn't the open play chances. My concern was the chance we had of set pieces, because we could have had 2 goals from corners in about the first 15 minutes. See, Van Dijk put one over the bar. He put one wide. He hit the post. And then in the second half, we're going to get onto that. And he missed another one. I think McAllister took the corner and he headed it onto the top. I thought that was in, but that was my concern. We had quite a few chances.
My concern after 15-20 minutes is, after creating those chances, after putting the ball in the box, we started taking it short.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, what are they doing? Why is McAllister always like going short? What are they doing?
I said exactly the same to Jake.
We started taking it short for some reason, but I was happy the quality of the delivery. Yeah. I think with gone too much of the in-swinger this season, whether it's Trent on one side, Robbo or Shimikas on the other. I like these quick out-swingers from McAllister because he can whip a ball, Jake.
Yeah, we were a threat. I mean, I don't know how long ago it was we saw this stat. I think we had the lowest expected goal from set pieces. I think it might have been after the Southampton match. We had the worst expected goal in set pieces in the entire league. So to see us generate some opportunities in this game is a welcome surprise. But like you guys are saying, those were missed opportunities. But unlike you guys, if I'm being honest, I was relaxed. Sheen was right next to me, and he was sweating bullets during these missed opportunities. He's saying this game should be over.
Which arm of yours is bruised, Jake?
The right one. But I was telling him while we were missing all of these chances, it's going to come, and it took a while, but the second goal came. We don't know how it would have ended if we didn't get the second goal, but as it turns out, we didn't need it. So, yeah, we want to see these set pieces produce something, and I think Virgil in particular, he has to finish those chances. For him, those are easy chances. He could have finished both of those.
I thought he was a bit unlucky on the post one, but he has to hit the target on the.
I think that one off the post was off of the taking it short, wasn't it?
Taking it what?
I think we took the corner short when he hit the post.
I don't know.
Yeah, that one we did. That one was a short one. Yes.
Yeah. So we did. We also created a chance off of a short corner, which you guys were complaining about. I didn't have any problem with it. But just in general, yeah, the set pieces today were much better. We were a threat. We needed to finish one of those off. But listen, I'm not complaining about 2-0 like the rest of you guys. I'll take my 2-0 in and walk away with the 3 points. I'm more than happy with the way this game unfolded.
If Liverpool played absolutely crap, Jake, and won, I didn't give a crap. Today was all about getting that win. But sorry, but the other player that we must talk about is, because we're talking on the topic of the team lineup, Cody Gakpo would you say it was a bit of a surprise start?
I will say yes, because I think I did say I would have gone with Diaz against Walker and then Nunez central, because I thought but then again, in hindsight, you can say that we played Diaz as a centre forward because then Ruben Diaz doesn't have anyone to pin, and we did that against Bayer Leverkusen really, really well. But I said I'd start Nunez, Salah, and Diaz because on the counter attack they're a lot more threatening than Gakpo because they've got more pace in them, and obviously when it's different when you're in front of the goal with Nunez and Diaz sometimes. But generally speaking, their press is a lot better than Gakpo's. So yeah, it was a bit of a surprise, but. When you put out your customary tweet and that's what Cody Gakpo started, I jumped out of my seat because finally on the big day he's playing in the left wing, and what a performance from him.
With the way the first half unfolded, Asim, what do you think the reason was for starting Gakpo at left wing and sitting Nunez?
I think it was more of a Nunez decision slash Diaz rather than a Diaz slash Gakpo, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
I think we saw that Diaz. Look, I think you have to give a shout out to Blue Chip because he called this. I think Diaz played away to Crystal Palace last year. He played a bit of a cameo in the number 9, and I was worried about him making that run out to in. Has he got that? But against the big teams, especially the guys who like to control the ball, like to dictate proceedings in possession, the likes of Leverkusen, the likes of City, and these games that we had at home, especially when you have to, the onus is on you to make the play. I think there's a definite push towards Diaz coming into those areas, and his ball manipulation, his drop of a shoulder buys time. The centre backs don't know either to come or to stay. You could see Guardiola, especially in the first 25 to 30 minutes, absolutely screaming at Diaz or whichever side he was at. Our Lucho, he's screaming at Ruben Diaz or Akanji to follow Szoboszlai and Diaz, who were coming into those pockets. And if they were coming into those pockets and they were going man to man and really tight with them, then it was either Diaz or Szoboszlai who would go and come out wider, asking them, begging the question, do you want to follow me in no man's land? Are you going to come here and really vacate that central space? And they didn't do that. And we were creating overloads. And I absolutely love Diaz is connecting, whether it's Salah, whether it's Szoboszlai on the right-hand side, whether it's McAllister on the left-hand side. He gives us natural ball skills. And with those natural ball skills, he is making Liverpool play and making Liverpool play triangles and combinations. And the thing I love about it in possession, you're seeing that intensity, you're seeing that unbelievable energy as well. But you're seeing composure as well. It's not all the time dropping the shoulder and trying to go and falling over. What probably we can say Diaz has been accused of in the last 18 months to 2 years. But we're seeing a lot more maturity sort of mixed in with this intensity. And I think that's what the plan was. Give it unbelievable pressing machine from the front and then give Nunes 20. And we saw that because off the ball, they're unbelievable. But Diaz has given us so much quality on it to keep it and play on our terms.
Another thing, go on, Salah.
Go.
You know, another thing I see with Diaz is, especially when he plays a lot centrally, is when he receives the ball centrally, because he has so much ground that he can go towards. He can go left or right. He has the ability to go on the left hand side. He has the ability to go on the right hand side. He has enough ground now to go on each side. Whereas when he's sometimes playing on the left hand side, he's always wanting to cut inside. He doesn't really like going down the line. This, because the pitch is so big, he's good enough to go either side. The amount of times I saw him go towards Salah's side, because what they were trying to do is they were trying to overload on that side. He would go to Salah's side, create an extra man out there, and ask the question that you mentioned. Come on, if you're good enough, come if you're good enough to Diaz or the other player. And it was a joy to us because the amount of times we won the ball on the counter on that time, it was about 3 or 4 occasions we received the ball and he turned and went the other way. He's on it. Every time he's played there, he's played really, really well. And, you got to give Slot a lot of credit for number one, seeing that, and number two, having the balls to actually go and say, you know what, in the big game, I'm going to go and play him in that position. He did it against Leverkusen, which was a big game. He's done it against City at home as well. And, that is a masterstroke from Slot, because that is a Slot tactic.
And I think that kind of shows as well, guys. I don't know what you lot think. What Slot sees Darwin Núñez as, because if I'm looking at it from that, with maybe Jota coming back in, I think Núñez's days might be numbered here. I'll be honest with you, because now we found this new role for Diaz. And if you told me 18 months ago that a front three of Gakpo, Diaz, and Salah, Diaz was going to be central and Gakpo would be on the left, I thought I would have called you daft, because we've seen a lot under Klopp. Gakpo is the one that's central, Diaz off the left, normally Jota as well. But yeah, I think this is really, really bold. Not to say that Diaz can't play this role, because I think he does it well, but I think this could be the start of the end of Darwin Núñez, and it's a shame to say that because I think he's been decent when he's played this season.
The problem with that thought process is this front three looked really, really good against Leverkusen, and after that match, I said the exact same thing that you're saying right now as far as this being the front three going forward. But we hadn't seen it start a game until now, and how many matches we've had from Leverkusen until now? But it hasn't happened since Leverkusen. So I don't think you're going to see that regularly moving forward. As we always talk about, Slot has a plan for every single team that he goes up against, and it's not always the same plan. Usually when we have our front three that's fit, we keep that front three and it's the same front three, each and every single week. That's not how it operates under this manager. So I'm not entirely sure that what you're saying is going to be held true, but there are other issues and concerns, in regards to Darwin that maybe we can talk about, even though he did play well today.
But Salih, why does it have to be the end of Darwin Núñez?
It doesn't.
Surely he still has a role. Horses for courses. Look, you saw what type of game it became. Liverpool I don't want to see. Surely Liverpool were going to feel some of the effects on Wednesday night. That was an intense game against our big rivals, or the guys who beat us every year in the Champions League and hurt us over the years as well. But surely, when our backs were against the wall, City didn't create a lot of chances, but they had some possession. And Slot thought, you know what, I'm going to kill you on the counter-attack, because we were creating chances. We were creating the better chances. They weren't creating any chances. I can't remember the last once they actually got in behind us.
0.80 XG for Manchester City today at Anfield.
And that was probably 0.7 was what Gene said earlier at the game, was that one-on-one we did. That was probably a chunk of their XG. But sadly, if I've got Darwin Núñez on the bench and playing 25 games a season, whether it's starting, whether it's playing 30, 40 minutes, I'm okay with that. It's a squad thing. Nobody talks about Grealish costing Man City's 100 million, but absolutely throwing a stinker week in, week out for most of the time.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, and I want to go back to the first point you made. This, why do you say this is the end of Darwin Núñez? It doesn't have to be the end of Darwin Núñez, but I genuinely believe that he won't be at the club next season, and that's because as a number 9, I don't think gives you enough. And ultimately, the job of a 9 is to score goals. And I don't think 2 league goals as a starting 9 for Liverpool is good enough. So that's why I think he's going to be out the door. But then you make the point of he still has a role to play in the squad, which he does. And I think the role he plays for this Liverpool team is really, really good. But I think if we bring in a number 9 in the summer, which I expect do with us Marmoush or whoever the talk of the town is, not a transfer show, I really don't see. And you got Chiesa coming back and you got Diogo Jota coming back, who I think would be a lot more effective under Arne's slot. Because I've seen Chiesa play many, many times. I think he's a lot better in front of goal than Nunes. We know how good Jota is in front of the goal. And obviously the form of Gakpo, Salah, as I don't really see where Nunes fits into that, especially if we bring another attacker in. And yes, I do agree with you. He does have a role to play, and the role that he's been playing this season has been impressive. I just don't, for his price tag, he's not been a good signing for me. And I think Liverpool rather kind of not have to deal with that as well. And I don't know what you think of that, Jake. To be honest, I think what Nunes does, he does to a good level. Like, he's intense, he's tenacious, he gets in behind. But the ultimate job of a 9 is to score goals, and he doesn't do it enough. And I think that's my main concern, because I want my 9 to put the ball in the net. And if Gakpo, Diaz, and Salah are doing that collectively, I don't see where he fits in, especially if we bring another attack in the summer. And Chiesa and Jota to come back.
Yeah, well,
Look,
the only problem
not
with this
fit
idea
enough.
is somebody's gonna have to pay for him. Who's gonna pay for him?
We're going to lose money on him regardless. That's a given.
Well, if nobody's even willing to pay a respectable amount for him, then you can't sell him. Somebody gonna pay 40, 50 million for him? Because you ain't gonna sell him for less than that. You might not even sell him for that small amount.
We will easy get
gonna lose.
Jake. We will easy get 50 million for Darwin Nunes, because
You easy get 50 million for Darwin.
Easy.
I don't think so.
Watch in the summer when every team is if there is a flipping one position where you can't find 9s, where you can't find players, it's the number 9. So
Let's
there will
save
be
this
teams looking.
for another show, because
Okay, anyway, look, I don't want to make this about Darwin Nunes. I'll be honest with you guys.
Let's go to
Asim, can I just say before you go, I am happy with Darwin Nunes this season.
I am too. That's why I don't want to talk about
I'm
selling
happy
him.
with him. I want him to stay. I don't want him sold. I want him to stay. I want him to play at his time. I just get this feeling his time's going to come. It will come.
It will come. I think we just need to start creating chances.
Everything else now is coming. Everything else that he's doing now is exactly how I want him to play. But I'll give you an example now. Salah played an outside ball today to Diaz. I even said to Jake at the time, I wish that was Darwin. That is a ball that Darwin, in the 6-yard box, Darwin puts that away. That's what he needs. And obviously, Diaz didn't control that ball. Or I don't know exactly what happened. He just went wide, whatever. But his chances will come. He just hasn't had as many this season. Before, he was getting the chances and he was missing them. This season, the chances haven't actually come. And the couple of times he's actually done a decent job. Look, I'm okay with Darwin, because the other players are fighting.
Problem in itself.
Anyway, we'll talk about something else now. I don't want to make this about a Darwin show.
Ash says Darwin has a role in the 21-man squad.
100%.
Time
This
is
season,
up. I think we have a decision to make. I think if I'm going to predict, I think either Darwin or Jota. I'm inclined to lean towards Jota. If there's one going to leave, I think it's going to most likely going to be Jota, because of his age, and he's coming up to a new contract, and it might be the right time to sell. If I'm going to play Michael Edwards for a second. Gene, let's go to the goal. City always have generally speaking, always have a high line. It was high today as well. And with a man-to-man press, our outlet has been Mohamed Salah for all the season. And even though it takes about 10 fouls for him to get one, he had all the time that sort of come short and spin. And he showed extra yard of pace today, Gene. There was one moment that, wow, Aki's not no slouch, Gene. Well, Mohamed Salah it was a brilliant ball by McAllister, and he went into acres of space and would talk to me about that ball. I was sent a still image of that situation. How the hell did he find Cody Gakpo from there?
There's two balls I say. First and foremost, you can ask Jake, as soon as Trent got the ball, I shouted, Salah, Salah. Because as whenever Trent sees the ball, I look at Salah. That's all I do, because I know it's going there. And when he for number one, that ball was an unbelievable pass for Salah to get over. But honestly, that Salah pass, the weight of that pass, to be able to get it through the two defenders that were there, and for Cody Gakpo just to put it in. Look, it was the perfect ball. The perfect goal. Trent to Salah, Salah to Cody Gakpo. I know Salah's going to kill me for this. I know it was just a tap in, but you know what? I give I gave Gakpo his due today. I thought Gakpo played really, really well. Honestly, he did. And I'm glad Gakpo scored. To your credit, Sarib, ask Jake. Jake, didn't we say Gakpo's gonna score today?
I don't know. It
We
was
did
not
it.
a we thing. I told
You
you Gakpo was
lying
going to score
basket.
today.
Oh, you're such a lying basket
I
now.
told
He's
you
trying to do you
Gakpo was
over.
going to
He
score
did. No, but
today.
he did. But honestly, I just had this feeling Gakpo, you know what? It was his game where he was going to come good. But look, the goal itself, Muhammad is Muhammad Asim, man. Especially in the first half, the amount of times he held off Ake. We were isolating, in a way we were enticing the press and isolating Salah with Aki saying, okay, we're going to give Salah the ball. A few times he won the ball and you could see the City players look at each other thinking, we need to get a man over there to help Ake out. And that's what they did. I think it was Nunes who started to drop slightly deeper to make sure that out ball wasn't always there. But honestly, Salah, man, what can I say about the guy, man?
You know
He
what?
will always produce on the big
I'll be honest.
occasion.
No, it's mad to say though. Generally, like over the 90 minutes, that's probably the worst I've seen him play this season. Up there with Nottingham Forest, and he still gets you a goal and an assist. And I think that's
Salah.
Yeah, I don't think he was I think Diaz and Gakpo out of the front three were a lot better than Salah today, personally for me. Anyway, but then that's the greatness. That's the great. That's the greatness. No, that's the.
Yeah,
But that's the
I
greatness.
thought
of Salah.
Salah played really well.
That's the greatness. Of
I
Salah.
did. He held up bloody Ake in the first half. He bloody.
He was cooking him in the first 10 minutes.
He was cooking him in the first 20, man.
That's the epitome of how great of a footballer that he is. Like he's not even at his peak best, and he still contributes with a brilliant pass to Gakpo and a penalty. But
look, he was Salah. Salah's numbers are always good. Salah will always produce in the big occasions. There's time where Salah doesn't play well, but gets a goal. Today wasn't that day. He actually had a good game. Yes, he missed that chance. He will miss that one-on-one with the goalkeeper.
He created the chance himself too. Let's not forget that.
But
that's what
I'm not gonna say anything. I thought Salah somewhere else today, man. He was up for it today again. He wasn't that great against. If anything, Real, I thought, he wasn't up to the level. Yeah, but this game he was up for it, man, and he played well.
Fair enough. I'm not gonna disagree with you, to be fair.
All right, carry on. Asim.
You're on mute.
Anyone else want to talk about that goal? What I think, Jake, there was only one player in the world who can make that pass, and he plays for us.
I don't know if he's the only player in the world or not, and I'm not concerned whether he is or not, but he's a fantastic footballer. Obviously, Cheen and I were talking about him before the match, especially given the situation of his contract. He's going to be the talk of the town, if you will. And I'm sure we'll get into the contract situation a little bit later, but we can't let this guy go. We will rue the day that this guy doesn't play for us, and he's begging to stay. So we have to keep this man at all costs.
I haven't seen the comments made by Keane and Sturridge, and I was talking to some, as you do, traveling back from Anfield. You ring Gene for about 20 minutes, and then you ring a few other friends as well, just to kill a bit of time. But they said that Roy Keane and Sturridge basically said world-class player, and Sturridge said show him the money. And this is what I expected our own pundit in the Sky Studios to be saying last week. But are you starting to get really, really concerned now? I don't want to make it too much about contracts, but it's nearly January now, Jake, and these guys.
I was concerned in August. I was the one here in August telling you guys this was a concern. There was nobody else on the show telling you that in August.
Well, it's staring us all in the face now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been like that for me, but now it's getting even more concerning. I don't know what to tell you. I really don't know what to tell you. I mean, the comments from Virgil
there was talk about PSG a long time ago.
The comments from Virgil before the game also are not encouraging. So it's not just Salah. I mean, Virgil is another catalyst to this team. He was absolutely fantastic today. I'm sure we'll talk about him. He's another player that has to get signed. The fact that all of these players are unsigned and they're basically all saying that there's nothing to report on it in regards to progress being made. That's a major concern. I'm not as concerned as the rest of you guys are as it pertains to January. These guys are professionals. We're in a title race. They've been at the club for a very long time. I don't think any of them are going to negotiate contracts openly with another club in January, even if they can. So I'm not too concerned with that. But my concern is what's going to happen with their future. And these are, pillars of this team. This is a team that's at this moment destroying this league, the best side for me in Europe, and it's probably by margin right now. So these guys have to be signed, but it's a concern.
Do you know there's a stat? Yeah, there's a stat about Salah. No player in the Premier League history has scored and assisted more times in a single match, in a single game, than Mo Salah. The record was held by Wayne Rooney. It's now held by Mo Salah.
Wow.
37 times, 37 games. He's got a goal
in a Premier League match.
Yeah. So the record was Rooney with 37.
It's not bad. It's not bad for a selfish player, is it?
Yeah, it's not, to be fair.
It's not bad.
Sorry, you've talked about contracts, Jake. All this time I've been going on about Salah's contract all this time, and to be fair, the reason why people might say, "Oh, you're only speaking about Salah's contract." I don't speak about Van Dijk's contract, and I haven't, because I've always felt as though that Van Dijk's contract will probably get done. But I'm not lying. I think over the last week, even his contract, I'm beginning to slightly start to worry about, because that one was that's a plain sailing contract, man. That's he signs on. You give him the contract on terms that are good enough, he will sign that contract. Salah, look, we know there's a slight difference in terms of Saudi, how big he is, the star, all that type of stuff, and he feels as though he will play the highest level for over 3 years. So that's why I've been always pushing the Salah contract over Van Dijk's. Trent's different because we know Trent's contract, he's going to get the contract. I'm actually beginning to worry a bit about Van Dijk's contract. He came out a couple of days ago saying, look, the contract hasn't really come, but we're in talks, but that's about it, and I'm not going to say any more about it. Come on, guys, we're in December. There's 4 weeks to go. They need to know what the sort of hell is going to go on as well. Of course, they're model professionals, Jake. They're still going to want everything. They're going to want to win this league, because that will definitely cement them in terms of the greatness in terms of this football club. They'll walk into any side in Premier League history, let alone just this Liverpool team. So I'm actually beginning to worry about Van Dijk now. I think I need to start really tweeting about Van Dijk's contract in the next month, because I haven't done that for the past 3 weeks.
Liverpool
thinking that's going to get done.
Michael Edwards is sat in bed looking at Chine's Twitter right now.
Look, I don't want anybody to think that I'm only going after saving, tweeting about Salah and not Van Dijk. There's a reason behind it.
I know one person that has Gene blocked though, Jamie Carragher. That's for sure. You tweet so much about Carragher's definitely got you blocked.
No, you're right. Carragher's all right, man. But look, Carragher's all right. I just don't agree with him about calling Salah selfish. That's it. We move on.
Raheem's in the house. I'm sure he's jumping with joy tonight. Bob asks a question. No, someone else asks a question. Ziyar asked him, do you think FSG may have a point regarding contracts? Van Dijk has made 3 mistakes in the last 3 games. Well, he made a big mistake today at 2-0 with Kevin De Bruyne going down on goal. But for me, he has a massive shout for man of the match. I thought he was unbelievable today. And man of the match awards are sometimes handed, if someone plays that has a quiet game. But Van Dijk did not have a quiet game, Jake. If you want to stop Haaland properly, you stop it. Stop the source, stop the supply. But there were plenty of balls over the top that came for Haaland. But the way Van Dijk handled the big man today, he ushered him, he put his leg around him, he bullied him, and he was his imperious best today in both boxes, even though he didn't get a goal.
Yeah, there was a moment in the second half right in front of.
You're going, Jake. Gene, do you want to take that? Come back in. Let's
Sarib take it. I just spoke. Let's Sarib take it.
Sorry, Sarib. Hello.
Well, yeah, man.
We were talking about how good Van Dijk was, Sarib.
Oh yeah, of course. I thought Jake was going. That's why I thought Jake was going.
No, he's frozen. So I told him to go.
Yeah, look. Obviously, I've got bias to certain players, to be fair. I'm not going to lie to you. I have my favourites. We all do. I thought he went off 70 minutes, but I thought Gakpo was really, really impressive in the game. So I had him as my man of the match. But then he went off in the 70th minute. Then I shifted because Virgil van Dijk today was unreal. But I think the reason why he doesn't get the limelight is because he does this every week. And it's normality for him. So this is just a normal performance of Virgil van Dijk. But there was times where the ball was played over the top to Erling Haaland, and Van Dijk just comes out of nowhere. And it was like Haaland was running straight. He made a really, really good run. Van Dijk comes around him and he kind of like side foots the ball around Haaland and he passes out to Trent Alexander-Arnold. I was like, how has he just gone and done that? If that's any other defender, Haaland's in on goal and he's through 1-on-1 with Kelleher. But Virgil van Dijk was able to rectify. Virgil van Dijk always has good games against Erling Haaland. I think Haaland has said it as well. The one player I've always struggled against since my days at Salzburg is Virgil van Dijk. I think 1v1, Van Dijk has got the better of him 9 times out of 10. There might have been an odd time, I think, a couple of years ago at the Etihad. No, he didn't even play in that game. I've never actually seen Haaland have a good game against Virgil van Dijk, to be fair. But he was imperious today, Virgil van Dijk, and it's a shame because he could have easily had a hat trick, let alone 1 goal. He should have had a hat trick, Virgil van Dijk, from set pieces. Again, captain's performance. You look at leaders down the Premier League, you look at centre backs, and he epitomizes everything that you want. He's a leader, he's a captain, he leads by example. He does everything. He's quick, he's fast, he looks good, he's got good hair. Everything you
smells
want.
Nice as well. Smells nice.
Smells nice, as the once wise Troy Deeney said. He's got a great range of passing. What can you say about Virgil van Dijk? He's been doing this year in, year out for near enough a decade now in the Premier League. When he came to Southampton 10 years ago now, or almost. Yeah, he had an off year a couple of years ago, but we can safely say he is almost. I will never say he will be at that level, but he's not far off the level that we saw him put out them years that we won the league and the Champions League. Obviously, that level I don't think can ever be reached by Virgil van Dijk again. Obviously, age, ACL, etc. But Asim, if you showed me a Van Dijk game from if this game was played then, I would not know the difference between that Van Dijk performance and this Van Dijk performance. Like, it was that good of a performance today from Virgil van Dijk, and I think it gets highlighted a lot more because we're playing the champions of England. But he does this most weeks, Asim. He does this every single week. But obviously, it's going to be highlighted when he played the top. But I thought against Real Madrid, he was impressive. Against Manchester City, he was impressive and deservedly man of the match today as well.
You guys might laugh. I might get clipped. I think Virgil van Dijk is the best defender ever. I called him the best defender ever last show, but I don't think you guys probably realize what I was saying. You probably thought I was saying he's the best defender ever in the Premier League. I think Virgil van Dijk. Look, I saw Paolo Maldini late in his career, so maybe I can't really. But he's the best defender I've seen. I can't see Paolo Maldini or Franco Baresi being better than Van Dijk in the modern game. It take every attribute as it is. I don't think anyone's better. Does he have a weakness? Does he have a weakness?
Did you guys talk about that clearance that Atik brought up? The ball that came in over the top to Haaland?
He hasn't got an ACL on his right knee. I think that's the only weakness he can have.
Would you call me mad? Would you call me mad?
No, yeah, I wouldn't call you mad, but obviously we've only seen you obviously watch football. You 3 of you have watched football a lot longer than me.
Salah, you got no excuse to call him not the goal.
Yo, let me finish, man, before you have a go at me.
Because if you're gonna go with somebody else, no comment.
He is the best centre back I've ever seen in my life, in my lifetime. He is. I've always said that. There's nobody in their prime that I saw better than Virgil van Dijk as a player. As a complete centre back, he's the best I've ever seen. There's players, Asim, that when he runs at them, they run away. I've never seen that. I've seen Ramos, Varane, Boateng, Hummels, you name it. There's many other centre backs. PK, none are better than Virgil van Dijk from what I've seen, no doubt. And
Billy, I'm going to speak to you about Paolo Maldini. Paolo Maldini for me is the best left back I've ever seen. An unbelievable footballer, but I don't think he was the best centre back. Because he was probably a better left back because he was the best in the world at that time. Yes, there were times when he'd play inside when Baresi got injured 94 World Cup. Maldini was an unbelievable centre back, but he wasn't Van Dijk level. But left back, he's the GOAT. He was the best left back ever. He was better than Roberto Carlos, if you ask me.
Yeah, I can buy that. I can buy that. But look, in terms of attributes, recovery pace, strength, playing on the halfway line with just a defender with your mate, standing and obviously fighting with you, letting your both fullbacks go, his ping, his diag, you on and off the ball, the lad just does not have a weakness. Aerial duels, you name it, ground duels, 1v1 defending, going out on the touchline and acting as a situational wide defender. Today he had extra responsibility because I thought Arne Slot tweaked our build-up a bit. I tweeted earlier about it where the centre back split every time, but You saw Pep Guardiola do it in a different way, where he put Walker, because one of the reasons why we really strangled and suffocated City is because the likes of Walker and Diaz are absolute shite on the ball. Shite on the ball. You even saw it in the second half, where we were just suffocating them, pressing them, and they were shitting their pants. When the first half, they couldn't play string 4 passes together. And by the time it went back to Ortega or out wide to, what do you call him? What's his name on the left? Ake. It was too late, because all our press, we jumped by then. So, where was I coming? In terms of the extra responsibility, Van Dijk was just surging with the ball on that left side channel, because Robertson was slightly higher and Trent was slightly deeper in today. And maybe one of the reasons why is because Arne Slot probably knew that they're going to be aggressive off the ball as well and suffocate. And that's what all Guardiola teams do, even when they're playing badly, as we've seen in recent weeks. But when you've got the likes of Trent, he gives you that ping, that first time ball. And if it went into midfield, we had that ball from McAllister first time over the top to Salah, and Szoboszlai played that same ball because the high line and the man-to-man press was aggressive. So we had an out ball, and this is the reason why I've been talking about Liverpool having Trent, having Salah in every line or every zone. We've got a bit more than the other teams. KDB is an unbelievable player, but City and Arsenal don't have a Trent in that last line, and we've been hearing it over the course of the season. Bradley's conventional. Bradley's a good player in his own right, but with all due respect, don't ever compare him to Trent Alexander-Arnold, because he's a generational talent. He's a special player, and in the big day, he can turn a game with a blink of an eye. But look, I want to come to the second goal, Jake. The second goal, I think, epitomized Liverpool's play. The game state was, the counterattacks were going off, but at that time it was Núñez and Diaz leading the charge. And I just mentioned it, that Ruben Diaz and the likes of Walker are absolutely shite on the ball, and it showed for that instance. But we harried them, we hassled them, we won the ball, we won the penalty, and we won the game.
Yeah, 100%. And that's a testament to the work rate of Darwin, and that's what we're getting from him right now. When he comes onto the pitch, he might not have chances fall to him, but he's putting in 120% effort every single time he's on the pitch. And he was able to win the ball back. Diaz picked the ball up. He beat Ortega. Ortega took him down, and he won us a penalty. But it was a nervy moment in that game. I don't know exactly what minute it was where we won that penalty, because I couldn't see the clock. But those minutes during that match up until that penalty were nerve-wracking, and it felt as if the balance of the season, even though we're 9 clear coming into this match of Arsenal, felt like the balance of the season might have been, in this exact moment in time during this game. And if City were to, win an ugly goal and level it, things could have fallen apart for us. So it was a key moment in the match to get that second goal to kind of put the game away at that moment in time. Once Salah stepped up, everybody around me was nervous. I told everybody, Sheen included, he's not missing this. Salah's not missing this. There's no way he's not putting this away. There was never a doubt in my mind when he stepped up that we were scoring that second goal. But that's a testament to Darwin Núñez. So as far as, Sarb questioning what he has to offer to this team, case in point right there, he's the reason why we were able to put this game away and have a relaxing, last 15 minutes or so to this match, because as I mentioned, the 30 minutes or so leading up to that, from the second half kickoff until that penalty, whatever it was, 30, 40 minutes, whatever it was nerve-wracking for all of us. My heart was in my throat for 30 minutes there. No question.
I saw Gene's video of the Salah penalty, and I could hear him in the background. Please Salah, don't miss. Don't miss Salah, please.
That
Salah,
video was absolutely brilliant.
I could hear Jake as well. Salah, don't miss.
I'm surprised that phone didn't land on the
Honestly,
I was thinking the same thing.
It was really good. Well done, you. Good. It was a good
The crazy thing was he missed that chance just before that, and as Jake, I was actually already stood up on my seat as him when he was running through one-on-one to celebrate. And when he missed it, I was literally heartbroken.
I was like, pass the ball.
And that's why for that penalty, I said I was so nervous, thinking if this guy misses, Number one, Salah's gonna kill me. Yeah,
Were you on the chair?
No,
Were you on the
no.
chair?
I would have been pissed.
Standard.
Were you on the chair? Bloody
Obviously.
yeah.
Yeah, I was just praying, just do not miss. I can't take 2 weeks of Salah missing a pen. But I was confident, but I was shitting bricks.
I
Put it
think
that way.
Jake would have. I
I
think
was
Jake
wrong.
would have picked you up. He missed Arms Day this morning.
There was never a doubt in my mind he was finishing that penalty. This man was talking about letting McAllister take it. I told him
Yeah, I
no
was
way.
shitting bricks, man.
I know. I thought you believed him more.
I do, but I just at that moment it's the fear, man. It's that fear
I
that
know,
I had the Mac to take it.
especially. But you know what? I thought his reaction was very, very good, and this shows the measure of the man and measure of his mentality as well. On Wednesday night, I didn't like his reaction. The moment we got that penalty, he walked away.
100%. I was checking this to Jake. 100%.
Today, he was doing keep-ups before the penalty. He was doing keep-ups. And I can remember McAllister doing keep-ups as well against Man City last year when he got that penalty as well. But I think he showed real composure today, settled his nerves. It doesn't matter who you are and what sportsman you're playing down the local park and it's 2-2 and you got a penalty in the last minute, you get nervous. Whenever you get a penalty, you get nervous. And this was a big day and a big moment. And Mohamed Salah, as good as he is, he gets nervous. He's a human being, even though it doesn't seem like it at times. But the way he was doing his keep-ups, and I think a lot of fans, and we've got some Arsenal fans in the chat as well. It took me 51 minutes to mention them, but they'll say we're just hyping up little situations. But Szoboszlai had a role in that penalty as well, Sarib, where he calmed the City players, were gathering the referee, gathering the penalty spot. He picked up the ball and he took the attention away from Mo Salah, gave him the ball. Salah did a few keep-ups and he smashed the goal in the bottom corner. But everyone has a role to play, even those small moments. They're really, really important.
Yeah, and I agree with you. And it's nice to say that this squad has a feel-good factor about them.
Exactly.
You even see like when any training clips get put up, when they're doing inside AXA, they're all sitting around the coffee table, no phone allowed. You just see them all having a chat. They all eat breakfast together. It's a very, very nice home kind of atmospheric club. And I think that's why the togetherness, you can see it when you do it off the pitch and you build that kind of bond. It sometimes does translate onto the football pitch, and I think that's what's been happening this season. And I think everybody's bought into the Arnie Slot idea, and you can see it by our league position, regardless of what you might think of our fixture list or whatever anyone has an opinion on. You can say that Liverpool clearly are in a good position, and that doesn't only start from the pitch. That starts from things that you don't see. Things are on the training pitch. Things are that happening at home. Communication between players, tactics. This is not even about tactics. You can see that this squad has togetherness. This squad is gelling very, very together, and they all seem to be getting along. I can't tell you, Asim. Our 3 best players are probably down to 6 months of their contract, and we don't have any bad eggs in our football club. Like, there should be so much noise around them. Oh, Salah's this, he's asking for this, but there isn't. You don't hear any things about Salah.
There's a title to be won, Sarif. There's a title to be won.
Exactly. Bigger fish to fry, as some of them gooners like to say, and we're definitely frying that fish, aren't we?
Gene, I want to come to you about Trent. I thought Trent had a really good performance. I think it was in the first half that it felt like a little. Anyone play golf? Do you play golf, Jake?
Sure
What type
do.
of shot? What was it, like 3-iron or something? Whatever you call it, a club, whatever it was an unbelievable shot. Unbelievable pass. It felt like a little crisp outside of the foot.
It was a fade on it.
Yeah, it was fade. It was
Backspin
what it
type.
is. That's a fade. That's correct.
It was an unbelievable ball. I think it was a brilliant challenge by Ake as well. I've not seen not that fade, Sarif.
I know, but out in the pod.
Well, Gene, talk to me about Trent's performance. A few comments saying he got cooked by. I think that's a bit of a thing today's show, isn't it?
I'll be honest.
I thought he was good.
I thought I had a really good game. First half, I thought he handled Nunes really, really well. There was a few one-on-one situations where Nunes went at him. He won the ball back a few times. His passing was back to his best. One thing that we've actually criticised him for this season is his on the ball, where he's lost the ball too many times. It was none of that. When he played the ball when he had to play the ball. Look, the second half, he started well. Doku came on. And there was a couple of occasions where Doku did go past him. Doku's that type of player that will go past you. He's a really good footballer. He's a quick footballer. He can go both sides. And, he went past him a couple of times. That doesn't mean anything to me. Good players will go past good players. That happens. Trent, overall, I thought it was a very, very good performance, especially one coming back from injury. Because generally speaking, Trent always needs 1 or 2 games to get into rhythm. We've seen that in the past when he's come back from injury. He didn't need that this game. He played really well. I was really happy with his performance. And more importantly, Asim, is when his passing's on song, we are on song. And his passing was on it today.
Sarib, what do you think? What do you make of Trent? I felt any player, especially with Trent's situation, how he's been, out of the team for the last couple of weeks, any player is going to struggle against Doku because Doku was fresh. Trent was knackered. He hadn't played 90 minutes. I can't remember the last time he played 90 minutes, but it'll easily been about 2-3 weeks. But his overall performance, I thought, was solid.
Yeah, and I don't think you can disagree that even generally this season, his 1v1 defending has improved massively over the last year or so, because I think that was the only kind of struggle that a lot of people had, including myself, about Trent Alexander-Arnold, that 1v1. He's not particularly the greatest, but I think he's put that right this season, to his credit, to be fair, and he's improved that facet of his game. I think it was much more comfortable for him in that first half. Obviously, he's playing against somebody that's naturally not a winger in Matheus Nunes. He's generally speaking, he likes to play in the middle of the park, a number 8 position, number 10, wherever he likes to play. It's not off the left hand side. I thought Trent, you can only play again who you play. You can only play what's in front of you. And I think he dealt with Matheus Nunes really, really well. Doku is a weird one. I think Doku can cause problems to any defender in the league, no matter how good you are, because he's that type of player. He's very good 1v1. He likes to cut in. He's got a bit of pit trickery about him. He's got a nice turn on him as well, Doku. He's a very elegant player, and I really like him as a footballer. But I think Trent dealt with him very, very well. And even when Jarell Quansah came on, I thought he dealt with him very, very well as well. So overall, I don't have anything bad to say about Trent Alexander-Arnold. The only concern I do have is his contract situation, which I don't want to get into. But overall, I thought he was impressive. Again, the fade pass was really, really good in that game. There was one instance where he should have played Salah in behind, but he decided to have a shot, and Salah was like, "Why didn't you play it to me?" And there was another one where Salah was making that run, and I think he just put too much on it. But again, like Gene said, it does take a bit of time for him to get into the mix of things. He's not played for a while since Aston Villa, which was quite a while ago. He didn't go away with England as well, so he has had time to rest. But it seems to me that he's on song, and we need him because we don't have much room there, do we, in terms of right back options? We saw a cameo from Jarell Quansah. Surprisingly, Jarell Quansah was decent at right back as well, to be fair, because I thought when the Quansah was going to come on, Gomez was going to shift out there. Quansah was going to Again, it is honest. The adaptability of our players and the versatility of what Arne Slot has been able to bring here has been second to none.
I want to come to you about that. I thought the same. The two lads sat next to me as well, Gene, thought the same as well, that Gomez was going to shift across. Quansah's going to come in that right side channel in the centre-back position. But why do you think it was that, the way it turned out, Quansah went right back and Gomez stayed at centre-back? Was it purely on the basis of Gomez was doing a great job at centre-half? Why change it?
Exactly, and Van Dijk and Gomez, they played together in these big games previously. They were both playing well. Gomez had a really, really good game, and Quansah was actually decent at right back. There was a game I was mentioning to Jake at the game, there was a game, I can't remember when it was. I think it was United when he was on that right hand side and he played that little ball, and where we got our penalty for Elliott. I think it was in that game last year. He actually did decent on that right hand side touchline. So I was really comfortable with him actually going out there and playing a little less pressure, playing on that right hand side over centre back, and he did a stellar job. Doku didn't really do much. Quansah's actually really good on the ball. He's good enough with the ball to take us up the field of 20 yards as well. He's got the ability. We've all known that. But I was really happy to see him come on, play in that position, because we're going to need him to come and finish off games in the last 10, 15 minutes, especially over the next 8 weeks. We're going to need these players to come in. These players can't play every single game, every 3 days. So there's going to be ample opportunity for all of our players to get their minutes in and rotate at times. So look, all in all, he had a really, really good day. And I'm glad Slot made that change, because Trent was tiring. And Doku did go past him a couple of times. So if we've got a replacement, a guy that's a good defender to play there, why not? It was the perfect replacement. But I was happy he made it because I wasn't expecting it. I wasn't expecting it, but I was happy he did it.
Jake, were you surprised? Were you happy? I know hindsight's a great thing, but your thoughts when that happened?
First and foremost, fair play to Chin. Right when Quansah was announced, he told me Quansah right back. So there was never a thought in my mind or in his mind that Gomez was going to move to right back. And I agree with the sentiment that it would never have made any sense to move Gomez to right back and put Quansah at center back. So if you ask me, and I mentioned this to you straight away after the match, that was a substitution that changed the game.
Yeah.
Trent had a very good match, but City were starting to get into the match a little bit more when Doku came onto the field. And there was about a 5, maybe 10-minute spell there where City were looking a little bit dangerous, even though they didn't really create any chances. They were starting to get into the match. It looked as if they were going to start maybe creating some chances. And once Quansah came onto the pitch, that was nullified immediately. So you have to give a ton of credit to the manager for recognizing that, for having a solution, because this isn't something that we've seen from Quansah, number one. And number two, as has been discussed on the show already today, we don't have options at fullback right now. So for him to find an option in Quansah right away in this game when it was necessary, big credit to the manager for finding that out. I thought Quansah was fantastic. And for a player that is probably or was probably lacking a little bit of confidence coming into this match, or at least could be thought that he could be lacking confidence, for him to put in that type of performance, especially when the opposition, their entire plan at that moment in time is to attack that side of the pitch.
Yeah.
Fantastic display from Quansah, 100%.
Because it was backs against the wall, Sarib. And when I saw Grealish and Doku on one side, De Bruyne and Savinho on the other, I thought, flipping hell, this is going to be a long 20 minutes. But we got the penalty just at the right time.
Yeah, and I think that was the main thing for me. It was kind of like a weight off my shoulders, and I'm watching it from my house. I don't know how it was at Anfield. You three would know better than me. But when Quansah came on, I'm going to go to that first. I was a bit nervous, and I did expect Quansah to go into centre back, then Gomez to move into right back because he's played there a lot more. And obviously, Quansah played against City last season as a centre back, so I thought that would have made a lot of sense. But I was more concerned about him not getting much minutes in the Premier League. This was his first appearance in the league since the opening day against Ipswich. So that was also a concern for him. It's the first Premier League game he's played in about 4 months. And that was concerning to me. But he obviously came in at right back, had a nice little cameo, dealt with everything that came at him really well. But again, the penalty, you say, came at the right time. The second goal came at the right time because 1-0 in the 82nd minute, in the 83rd minute, you start to question whether City are going to get a chance, because they can always get a chance. They can always produce. They've got quality on the pitch. Doku, De Bruyne, Grealish, Haaland. They can all contribute somewhere. But ultimately, Salah puts the penalty away, and we're having a different conversation. And that's how football is. Just so quickly. And it's credit to Arne Slot, because his substitutions made the difference. Quansah one, Nunes the other. And ultimately, Liverpool in the game. And I thought Curtis Jones and Szoboszlai, when they were playing together in that little cameo they had when Salah went off, I thought they were really impressive. And I think Slot, he's done that very well this season. He's managed his squad very well. Some injuries, but I don't think that's particularly on him. Jota, Konate, etc. But he has done incredible things, and I think there is shouts for Arne Slot. But I'm telling you right now, as it happens every single month, Arne Slot wins 4 out of 4 this month. Manager of the month, Russell Martin. That's what's going to happen.
I think Arne Slot is probably watching, not the City game again. I think he's watching the Forest game. He'll be watching the Forest game right now. Man of the match, Sarib, I'll start with you.
Virgil van Dijk. I don't think it's disputable that Virgil van Dijk is man of the match. Clean sheet. I think the only thing that takes a bit of shine off the gloss was that little Cruyff turn he tried against De Bruyne. You know what? It's funny because they're friends, and I thought they're gonna have a laugh about it, but they didn't. It's so serious. But no,
they share a school run, don't they? So
yeah, because the kids go to the same schools, so they're very close. They're on holiday together as well.
They'll be talking about outside the playground tomorrow.
Yeah, 100%. But yeah, clean sheet. Didn't do much wrong in the game. Should have scored. Could have given it to Gakpo. Could have given it to Szoboszlai, but Virgil van Dijk for me, I'd say.
Salah. Jake?
No, man of the match has to be Mo. Salah, 100%.
Ooh, okay.
Unlike Carragher, I give it to Salah.
Gene, Gene.
You know, look, you didn't say I'm gonna give it to Salah. I would have given it to Salah, but I want to mention Gravenberch, man. I thought Gravenberch today was
Wow,
brilliant.
wow.
You know,
We
the
only
guys, he took the piss out of their midfield. You don't honestly, the guy is something else, man.
Jake's grin is
Come
just
on,
getting
man.
bigger and
The
bigger. Is
guy
that why?
took
Is that
the
why screen
piss.
option here?
Look,
But
there was a lot of the players played really, really well. You know, it's easy to give it to Salah or Van Dijk, right? Because obviously they are the output kings, and Van Dijk was unbelievable. But honestly, for me, Gravenberch was brilliant. I
I
loved
only have
Gravenberch's
one
performance
comment to make
today.
on Gravenberch. Anybody that continues to talk about signing another midfielder and moving this guy out of this position, I'm not talking football with you. I'm not talking football with anybody that wants to sign a 6 and move Grav into an 8 position. I'm not talking football with you. Period. End of discussion.
I don't blame you, Jake. Jake, go for them if they
you
ever
know what,
bring. Anybody ever brings that up again, you're allowed to
Jake,
go for
Jake,
it.
Jake, you deserve to talk about Gravenberch a lot longer. But I want to ask you. I can remember a quotation from Guardiola talking. I think they played PSG in the Champions League, and he said it doesn't matter what you do with Verratti. He is unbelievable at being the press. I think Gravenberch is at that level where it doesn't matter what you do. He is unbelievably press resistant. He
That's
can do anything. He can drop a shoulder. He can go in different directions. He can glide past you. There's a moment where Foden, who's nippy himself and glides past people when he's on song, and they could not get near him. They could not get near him. And honestly, I just saw even from afar the sort of respect that Gravenberch got on the big day from some big players who won all the trophies in that blue shirt. That this lad can play. Honestly, he's unbelievable, and it shows how well the team played today. That it took an hour and 6 minutes for us to mention Ryan Gravenberch's performance. But I've always been calling about a volume passer, a 6 that is more disciplined. It keeps more control. But I said to you this, outside the ground today, I'm going to stop this sort of campaign or narrative now. If that means if we sacrifice a bit of control, sacrifice a bit more of volume passing in our team for it to have a guy like Gravenberch in the midfield who can just bypass anyone's press like that, then I think I'm all in. I'm all in. And I can only apologize to Ryan Gravenberch in me running that narrative. But I'd still like a midfielder because I think he needs an extra body. But in terms of his own performance, I think, can he become that volume passer that Slot really, really craves still? I don't know. Is he ever going to be a Zubimendi? But maybe I'm wrong. I think he's never going to be a Zubimendi. Let him be Ryan Gravenberch.
The comment that you made is the exact comment that I made to Cheen in the car after the match. I told him, there's no midfielder, there are no players, doesn't matter how many you put around him, that can put a hand on this player, let alone take the ball from him. What he does, receiving the ball under duress, there aren't enough words that I can put together to describe it. He is absolutely amazing at it. What doesn't get talked about is it's easy to talk about him, dipping the shoulder and gliding past these players. That's the beauty of his game. But what doesn't get talked about enough is the amount of duels that he wins and the defensive work that he puts in and how successful he is at it. His IQ, his positioning, and his ground duel percentage is off the charts this season. It's absolutely fantastic. He's taking the piss out of these City players the last 5 or 10 minutes of the match when we're playing keep away. They couldn't put a hand on him. What he was doing there was amazing. But unlike you, I don't have to have any apologies for Ryan Gravenberch. I talked about this guy during the summer saying we don't need another number 6 because this guy's going to be able to fill the position appropriately. And if I told you I knew he was going to play this well, I'd be lying to you because he's putting in player of the season type of performance week in, week out. I love this player. He's one of my favorite players on the entire team. And I told you, there's nothing more that bothers me than when people talk about we need to sign another 6 and move Grav out of this position because it doesn't make sense in my brain. It's mind-boggling to me that you want to take a world-class player and move him out of this position into a different position and just assume that his replacement is going to be better than him and he's going to be better in a different position when he's playing the best football of his entire life right now. This is mind-boggling to me. Let alone, this isn't FIFA, let alone you move him out of position and he doesn't have success there, and you want to move him back, who knows if he's going to be able to hit the ground running the way he's playing right now. You don't do those kind of things. If you want to bring in a 6 as depth behind Grav, I'm all for that. But don't talk to me about bringing in Chouameni, Zubamendi, or any other number 6 in world football that's going to replace him in that position. I'm not having this conversation. I'm not having it at all. Well, you want to move Mo Salah to goalkeeper? Let's talk about that too.
Wow. That was
Jake, I
passionate.
respect you for that. I respect you for that. Respect you for that, mate.
That
He's a
was
bad
passionate.
boy. But let's say, can I say one thing? Sorry, has he played enough for you to suggest that he's good enough to play in that position now? Because I remember 3 or 4 games in, you were saying to me, hasn't played against the big teams. We'll see if when he plays against the big teams. He's just put Real Madrid and Man City on their ass over the last 2 games. He's played all the big boys. He showed them levels to, I'd say, 90% of the games. Is this enough proof to you to say that Ryan Gravenberch is good enough to be in that position? And that's his position now.
I think he is good enough to be in that position, but I still think we need to see more of him, though. It's not a lie. I think we're only.
That's standard, isn't it? Obviously,
Yeah, that's what
we
I
want
mean.
to see him over 3 or 4 years playing
Yeah,
this
that's
position.
what I'm
But
saying,
in terms, but because you said after 3 or 4 games he hasn't played anybody. I remember you having that and you had this conversation.
Oh, true,
now, can you? Yeah,
Yeah.
but now he's played
Yeah, of
everybody,
course. Yeah,
and he
of
showed
course.
levels
He's
to all
played
of us. So
everybody.
your
Yeah.
narrative right now, your narrative should be Ryan Gravenberch is the man in this position.
That's not a lie, though, is it, Gene? He's playing very
He
well.
is the playing. No, but this is what I'm trying to say. Because back then, my issue was, I was saying this is his position. He has to stay. You were like, no, he hasn't played only 5 or 6 games. Now it's 20 games. He's practically played every single game. Yes, you can have a lift back from Everton away. Yeah, he's played every single game for 20 games. That is more than enough games against all the big sides, the best sides in Europe. Leverkusen.
No, we haven't played anyone yet. We haven't played anyone.
Leverkusen, Real Madrid,
We
Man
haven't played
City.
anyone yet.
That is enough proof to say, okay, boys, we've seen enough. This position is Ryan Gravenberch's now. There's nobody better than him. This is his position. Nobody, Zubamendi, anybody
But
else.
you know,
Bar
what I
Rodri.
would say is, Gene, is we're gonna keep Ryan Gravenberch there. Then I want Liverpool to go heavy and invest in a new left back.
Standard. That's
A
That's
physical
what we've been
left
talking all about all summer.
that's all
Yeah.
summer. And we've been saying that is a
Because
standard
I want-
position that
yeah.
needs addressing.
I want to be, because I know we've got an idea of what type of fullback Arne Slot wants, and the Kirkes fits that mold of what we've seen so far. But
Let me ask you this:
maybe I want someone on a different type of profile as well.
Can
Maybe
Zubamendi
sign 2.
can Zubamendi play the left-sided midfield role for you, Asim, or no?
Apparently, look, I've not watched a lot, but when we were talking about him in the summer, he's played 8 as well. He's played double pivot, he's played single pivot, and he's played left-sided midfield over 3 as well. And he's played 8, but I don't think he's 8/10. But he's more of a double pivot or a single pivot. So he can do a job, but what he can play the role that McAllister is playing right at the moment. I think
If he can play that role, then I would sign him and put him there. And then if Grav goes down, then he can be depth for Grav.
Where do you go? Where do you keep? Where do you put McAllister then?
Well, McAllister starts and Zubamendi comes off the bench, but he's giving you depth at both positions.
Okay. Yeah, look, I'm happy with that. Liverpool need a body.
That's what I'm
Liverpool-
talking
Yeah,
about. If
that
you're
I
body,
agree with.
no
They need a
problem.
body. Yeah.
I think Gene asked me the question whether I thought Ryan Gravenberch was good enough to play in that position. I think after 4 or 5 games, it's easy to say, yeah, he is, but there's not enough evidence to suggest that. And I think at that point, that was fair to say. It's still 20 odd games, but over the teams that he's been playing well against has really, really impressed me. And obviously, it's going to change your opinion when you see a player moving like that against Real Madrid and Manchester City and Arsenal and whoever. He's been impressive in those matches, and you can't take that away from him. I still think Jake mentioned that he said world class. Ryan Gravenberch is world class. I don't think I'm on that train yet, because again, I have to see it over a season or 2 to really make that judgment. But he's definitely playing at that world class level, and long may it continue. And that's not a knock to anybody else. I still think we need a player in that position, because realistically, if Gravenberch gets an injury, who really comes in that position?
We're happy. I'm happy with that. That is the take I think we have, is we need a body in that position who's good enough to come and play in that
Really?
position if he gets injured.
Look, you mentioned Stefan Bajcetic. I was a big advocate for him as well, but I don't think he's going to make it here personally. I think there will be a time in the summer where we have to make a decision on him, and I think that decision will be to sell him. I that's what I think. I could be completely off that, but I don't believe he'll be at Liverpool in the near future, and that's not a knock to him because I think he's a good player. I just
You
think
think we're selling half the squad in the summer?
I think if Endo
Sorry?
goes, Bajcetic has a role in the team.
But I think if Endo goes, we sign somebody.
We'll sign someone anyway, I think.
Yeah, you think, because you never know with this club.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, but look, I don't want to make this about Bajcetic. Do I think he's a good player? Yes. Do I think he's going to be a good player for Liverpool? No. Could he be? Yes. Do I think he's going to be? No. But again, that's a question for the summer. But I think we need to bring a body in, whoever that is, Zubimendi or not, Baleba or not. That's the names being thrown around.
Well, Naby Keita has been training with Liverpool. That's a body.
But I would still, I would
Literally a body, man.
if we had that,
Literally.
I think we're still after. I think James.
Dead
Pierce,
one.
I think James Pierce put out the other day. We still like Zubimendi, and if I was Liverpool, I would. If I was Slot and Edwards, I would, and Hughes, I would do that deal. I would still do that deal, not because he's an upgrade, because I still think a player that's played number 6 over the last couple of years is still an upgrade on not Ryan Gravenberch, but in that position, it is definitely an upgrade. I would still do that deal because if something happens to Ryan Gravenberch, we're relying on Wataru Endo, who's not any shy. He's a really good player, but it's a completely different profile. And so
Endo's not starting if Gravenberch gets hurt. Let me tell you that right now.
Oh, it's not going to be Tyler Morton, is it?
It's going
It's
to be
me, it's me, Marcus McAllister in the 6.
100%. It's Maka.
Or
Not Endo, mate. McAllister will be in the 6 then.
I don't think. I think it'll be Jones and Mackin and Soboslai in the 10.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, that's the team. Not Endo.
Okay, fair enough.
Not Endo.
Fair enough. But like, look, I'm talking about natural number 6. We don't have anybody if Gravenberch gets in, and he's not even a natural number 6. So we don't have anyone.
We should look. The truth is, we should bring in a number 6 in January. I think if we manage to get one or two maximum in, just to help this side really good charge on all fronts. Because look, we're gonna make the knockout stages of the European Cup. We're gonna be in the last 16. I think we're gonna go for it. I think we have to go for it. Bashi's a funny basket. Bashi, you leave him alone, man. He goes, you got something right for once. Leave him alone, you know.
That's made my night. That's made my night.
Yeah, but I think if we have to get somebody in January, if even if it's a left-sided defender I would actually love for us to get Zubimendi in, just because I know then we've got enough cover, Jake, in that position.
Yeah.
Because in the left back position, I know they're not the best right now, but we can take it to the summer. Tsimikas and Robbo is enough. If something happens to Gravenberch, I want Zubimendi in there. Plus, if we want him, we can really try and go and get him. But I know obviously City will be after him as well. They want flipping everybody, but let's see what happens.
TK, I think that's the wrap, guys.
That's the wrap. That's the wrap.
That's it up.
No, go on. Let him finish, man.
I'm only joking here. I can go, man.
Salib, you can do the outro today, man. I've done enough talking and
So
shouting.
You made my point.
Yeah, of course. Make your point and do the outro.
You said, Gene, we can get away with Tsimikas and Robertson until the summer. But do you think that's down to the points gap that we have now over Arsenal and Manchester City? Because I think if it was 5 points or 4 points, I would prioritize a left back, especially because of Ryan. I would prioritize a left back ahead of the midfielder, because Gravenberch has been playing at that elite level this year. I don't know what you lot think of that.
Look, yes, the points gap obviously now helps a lot more.
Yeah.
But I think whenever Tsimikas has played, I thought Tsimikas every time he's played really, really well. I think that's good enough to take us to the season. Robbo hasn't been as good, but again today he had a really, really good game. Robbo's having these games where he's having a couple of good games, maybe not the best in two. So we're gonna get some sort of inconsistencies with Robbo. That's why I'm thinking, okay, Tsimikas is there. Probably Tsimikas will share the load over the next few weeks with him when he's back and fit, because I don't think Robbo can play every single game 3 times every 3 days. But I think we're gonna have to make a move on the left back situation in the summer now, unless we go in January and go and spend a lot of money on Milos Kerkez, and I can't see them selling to us in Jan unless we pay stupid money.
Sarib, tell everyone we're gonna win the league.
We're gonna win.
He will, yeah.
We're gonna win the league. We are gonna win the league. But guys, whether it's the
we
sea
can go
life
to bed.
of Manchester or the business of London or the seaside of Brighton, what we do know is the Scousers are on top. Good night. Good night.
Angie.
Well done.
He had that in his drafts.
He did.
Well done.
Brilliant. Have a good night, everyone. Take care. Smash a like, and subscribe to the channel. Take
Take care,
Bye-bye.
everyone.